Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, in its latest decision, the Supreme Court has allowed the bursting of green crackers in Delhi and the NCR for Diwali between the 18th October and the 21st of October. According to the top court's order, the firecrackers will be permitted from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and again from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. The sale of green crackers will also be allowed only at designated sites between 15th and 25th of October. The court also warned that crackers smuggled into Delhi-NCR cause more damage than green firecrackers and emphasized the need for a balanced approach, permitting celebrations in moderation without compromising the environment. Well, we in fact are going to talk about this. How does this in fact bode with the city and the pollution levels that are already beginning to rise? Joining us on the broadcast at this point in time is Advocate Gurmukh Singh Arora, Supreme Court lawyer. Dilip Cherian, Image Guru, also joins us on the broadcast. Kavita Ashok, environmentalist, with us on the program as well. And last but not the least, Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, with me in the studio here as well. Joyita, I've heard of a number of oxymorons in my day, and I'm sure you have also, but nothing as entertaining and as interesting as a green cracker. What do you make of this decision? I'm sure there are references to what happens in the United States and other parts of the world as well. When there's 4th of July, people in America do burst crackers, but it's monitored under a governmental agency. In India, it all goes up in the air, when these crackers are put in the wrong hands. What do you make of this stipulation that the Supreme Court has come up with?
Well, the thing is, first of all, we have to see, there is something called green cracker, and it has been, this terminology has been existing for a long time now. So, it is not that this is the first time that we are hearing this. But having said that, the whole point is, I am not the authority on this. The government should have some kind of an agency which is checking that green cracker. So, I am certain they are doing that, otherwise, but the whole point is that on Diwali day, in the last, I would say, I have been here in Delhi for decades now, till date I have not seen a single Diwali day where people do not burst crackers. And is anybody checking whether they are green crackers or not? No. After 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to around midnight, what goes on in Delhi and NCR, it's like everybody is bursting crackers. There is a smog, but at the same time, are we going to stop them from doing that? That is something I would say, at least by bringing in that green cracker stipulation, to an extent it may seem like some kind of a populist decision you are giving in to the people, but when what people want, but when it is there, till date nobody has been able to curb people bursting crackers. And how will they? It has got religious connotations. It is one day in the year. You cannot stop people from bursting crackers. So, at least the Supreme Court is now talking about green crackers. This blanket ban that was there, that was impractical. Nobody was listening to it. There was open flouting of the Supreme Court's ban, and that is what we have seen. Every year it happens. So, frankly, the ban itself was a farce. So, at least now they are trying to bring in some kind of a green cracker stipulation, and if you ask me, it's about face saving.
Mr. Cherian, I admit, of course, Diwali is the festival of joy. People are emotional about it. There are certain sentiments associated with it as well. I'm also happy to see, as much as you must be, that at least the Supreme Court and the authorities and the administration is looking at environmental and ecological friendly ways of satiating the interest of people who want to burst crackers. But my only concern, as somebody who lives in Delhi, is that we are not only going to see green crackers being used, there will be a usage of non-green crackers as well, because that is a supply which has not been curtailed in the last few years. They still come through, people are able to purchase them, and there is no task force stopping people from bursting these crackers. How many police people are going to be manning the streets of Delhi or perhaps the NCR to check if people are differentiating between green crackers and non-green crackers? Mr. Cherian.
Let the noses do the talking. Let the eyes do the watering. I think that, the green cracker oxymoron, as you correctly said, is just a face-saving device. And if the Supreme Court wants to ensure that it sounds appropriately populist, then they have succeeded in doing that. Do we need to stop people from enjoying themselves on this one day of the year? I don't think so. In fact, I think that the reason to draw attention to crackers is actually to draw attention to the extent to which we have allowed our air quality to deteriorate. And crackers are only a tiny part of the problem. I'm not going to take this debate into other areas, but you know that crackers are only, in a sense, a very loud signal of a period during which large parts of North India become virtually unbreathable in. So as I said, let the noses do the talking, let the eyes do the watering, because we will recognize that Diwali is just a milestone in our walk towards a disastrous level of pollution in the air caused by a variety of issues well beyond just crackers. And as far as, public sentiment is concerned, I think public sentiment cannot be the basis on which smart judiciary works. It must look at what the larger interests are and on the interests of those who don't have a voice. So I think that's what I would like to say at this point of time.
Advocate Gurmukh, how do you look at this problem? There is the concept of, a right to life, which also means that I should have clean air to breathe, because it is detrimental to my body, it is detrimental to my well-being. But, like Mr. Cherian said, and Joyita also said, that this is perhaps a very small symptom of a problem. This is a very small mole that gets exaggerated into a mountain every time Diwali comes around. The real issue is with the parali. The real issue is with the number of vehicles that are increasing in the NCR every now and then. But what does the law say when it comes to me going to a court and asking them, look, this is detrimental to my health, this needs to stop?
So we need, number one is that how I perceive this event is not that the court has passed any interim order as such. I perceive this event that the court has ordered this as a test to check all the moral obligations of the society. So the Supreme Court has already clarified that this order is not a permanent order, it would be an interim order. And the intent of this order would only be to check how these crackers would function. Now, see, from years and years, we all have been debating over faith, over health, whether it's the faith or it's the health, whether it's the livelihood or whether it's the environment. But the Supreme Court has now made sure that we all humans and all the, citizens of the country rise above all these, binaries. And to make sure, the court has took three primarily factors into consideration. The first factor was the concerns of the environment. The second factor was the sentiments of the citizens, who have from this festival. And the third one was the right to livelihood, that the laborers and all the fire workers who are working in the factories, the right to work gets affected because of that ban. So keeping all these things into factors, the court considered the concept of NEERI. So NEERI is a government body who introduced this concept of green crackers. So I think that the concept of green crackers is sold out to the people that these are harmless, but the reality is these are only 30% harmless. So if someone individual who was about to burn 10 crackers, and if instead of those toxic crackers, if he burns 13 crackers of these green crackers, it would be a devastating state itself. The danger would be the same, the effects of the crackers would be same. So the first thing which needs to be made sure is that all the individuals are made to ensure that they are aware about this, that what these crackers are all about and how to use that. And one major and important point, that we all know that Supreme Court has, passed major caps, that they have allocated a lot of duties to all of those government officials. But one thing on which the Honorable Supreme Court is silent is what would be the repercussions tomorrow if a individual is found, that is smuggling, or is, a normal human or normal individual of the country who is, burning these crackers. What would be the repercussions on him? What, see, if there's a law, there has to be a repercussion. If there's no repercussion, how do you expect that individuals will follow that religiously? People, religion is some sort of, thing in our country that people have sentiments attached to it. But overall, if we have to follow the consciousness of the court, we as the, citizens of the country have to make sure that our consciousness is very much reserved with us. We as an individuals have to make sure that the test by the Supreme Court is, passed. So that is how I will end my debate, and I will just, leave my suggestions that it was not the government bodies, or it is not the Honorable Supreme Court who would be eventually responsible if if there's a lot of pollution. At the end, it will be all us, and it will be at the end lack of awareness. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. And, taking a leaf from what Gurmukh said, Kavita ji, there is law. There have been laws in the past as well. The Supreme Court and many authorities, national as well as state authorities, have come down heavily when it comes to repercussions associated with burning of crackers. But the problem is that there's nobody to enforce it. You can make as many laws as you want, but you need enforcers. That's exactly what's not happening. I've seen people bursting crackers, when it was completely banned to do so. The cops would come by, the people who were bursting crackers, they would just bribe them with a 500 or 1,000 and they would just go away. Or some of them were not even on duty owing to Diwali itself. They wanted to go home and enjoy. This is a catch-22 situation to me.
Yes, absolutely right. See, basically, I think the Supreme Court this is just a trial, as someone mentioned earlier, it's a hit and trial kind of a thing, that whether it works. But major participation and consciousness has to come from the people of Delhi-NCR, because we are addressing Delhi's pollution right now. It has to come from people from within, because what is a law if it is not enforced rightly? What is the use of a policy if it is not implemented on the ground? So who is going to be, supervising or taking charge of, or taking notice or taking challans on Diwali day, ki who's bursting these crackers or not? Secondly, I feel that what about the the production line, the procurement of green crackers, the distribution? Is it going to be fair in throughout Delhi NCR? I don't think. Maybe people are selling the regular crackers also. Delhi and NCR is a huge area. Who's going to monitor that? So as you rightly said, firstly, I don't think we have that kind of monitoring bodies right now to take care of it. Secondly, I think citizens have to awaken their civic sense and understand that if the government or Supreme Court is making a policy or passing a law, it's for our own benefit. It's our children, our grandparents, and our lungs. We have to sort of, I think, work hand in hand. All these years, we've been talking about this. Of the air pollution during Diwali times, but nothing comes out of it, because I think the participation of the people is really, really disheartening. Secondly, air pollution, AQI rising in Delhi around Diwali is going to be for like 4 days, 5 days. Who's going to address other factors? I would love to mention that. What about Parali? What about construction? See, during winter months, there are a lot of factors which contribute to the air pollution in Delhi NCR. So, of course, crackers appreciate the Supreme Court making an effort to curb the pollution this time, but I think the worst is yet to come. Diwali is like few days ahead, and we can already sense that nip of pollutants in the air.
That's really important what you have said. But Joyita, how has China been able to curb its pollution? I've been to a polluted China, and I've also been to a China which doesn't have any pollution. And perhaps some parts of China where this pollution was a big issue, are more densely populated than Delhi or any of the other NCR areas. What do you think needs to be done? Is government cracking the whip like it should be on pollution? And pollution has become like any other problem. You cannot do this, you can do that. In Bihar you can still buy alcohol, right? It's banned, it's a dry state, but you can get any brand you want. You just have to have the right sources. This pilferage that happens on the side of these of these banned items is also something that the government needs to take seriously. Joyita?
Well, it's all about enforcement. And when it comes to enforcement, you cannot, what will the police do? The police will go and catch a 10-year-old and put him in jail because he is bursting crackers, or his father in jail because he is bursting crackers. So, you see, when it comes to Diwali, you do not enforce your law on the people, because that is a no-go area, and this is a democratic country, and the police itself will not do something like that. I mean, that's absolutely an outrageous idea that the police in Delhi will go inside colonies and catch hold of these youngsters and put them in jail or take them to the thana. I mean, the government will fall. It's as simple as that, something like that. So, forget about enforcing the law on the public. It's not going to happen. Now, in China it may happen, okay? In India it's not going to happen.
Because they have no religion.
Yeah, I mean, it's an authoritarian state. Their people, governments are not elected to power. They do not have to depend on people's votes. So, what the government has to do when it comes to Diwali specifically, firecrackers, they will have to target the source. When it comes to targeting the source, you have to ensure that the sale and dissemination of crackers that are not green, that is prevented at the source, and that is where enforcement is required, not on the people. Having said that, to blame Delhi's pollution situation on Diwali, I think it is outrageous, because after all, if there is a if air quality has started deteriorating, it is not because of 20 chocolate bombs or some kind of a bomb firecracker has been burst in maybe Noida, in Gurgaon and Delhi. No, it is the Parali, exactly. It is that season. So, if you are going to curb pollution in Delhi, curb it at the source. Will Punjab allow the stop Parali burning? Will Haryana? What kind of steps have they taken? We will know this year. We keep hearing about so many things, but when it comes to the implementation, it's again all about votes. I mean, they will say, are we going to put our farmers in jail if they burn Parali? If they are not going to do that, but then they will have to look at alternate measures, organic. There are so many ways it can be done. And there are studies after study, but then it's too expensive as well. The reason why farmers do not go, I mean, they prefer to burn Parali, and there has been talk about, say, Punjab government was supposed to give the farmers a particular machine where they, which would reduce that pollution in the air. They never gave that. All right, all these things are there. So, to just blame pollution situation on 5-10-year-olds in Delhi, I think that's absolutely outrageous.
Okay, Kavita ji wants to come in, then we go to Mr. Cherian and Gurmukh. Kavita ji, come in.
I want to add, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I just want to add in that, I do want to appreciate the efforts of the Pusa Institute, which I visited, have been visiting for 2 years now, and truly they have come up with a biodegradable, option for so that the farmers don't have to burn Parali, and that should cut the air pollution problem in Delhi. But the fact remains that since those 2-3 years, research has happened. It's already been put to test. It is already functional in so many parts of Punjab. Even last year, it was already tried and tested. But I think by the time it filters as a normal process for all the farmers of Delhi-NCR, it might take more time. So I mean to say that efforts are on, but I think we need to pace it up so that if we have the solution already, it has to be implemented real quick.
Mr. Cherian, there was a time in Delhi that we've all seen that time when, Diwali used to come, used to bring about a lot of pollution, and then it used to fade away. And there was no pollution in Delhi, and there were not, tools to measure pollution as aggressively as we do today. Do you think Diwali unnecessarily is getting trampled amidst these bigger issues which have not been addressed by, to a large extent, the state government of Punjab and Haryana, and to some extent the central government as well?
To claim that Diwali is a bit of a red herring is incorrect. There is no doubt that what triggers the initial spike, the massive spike in pollution, will be this one day of mayhem. And I think that we need to ensure that while Parali needs to be tackled, the most effective method that I found is that the children and the grandchildren today, having been educated about the dangers of air pollution, are actually the best filters we have. They are the air filters of the future. They recognize that it is hurting them at a time when their growth is being stunted by massive doses of pollution in the air. Only, as I said, 2 to 3% is caused by crackers over a period of, say, 2 days or 3 days. But we need to, on a war footing, make education the centerpiece of this. Only when public participation increases and public awareness of this problem, which is partially weather related and partially agriculture related in terms of seasonality, that we will be able to tackle the problem. Cars are only a smaller part of the problem, but what we do know is that between the kinds of construction methods we use and the vast quantities of unchecked pollution which goes on from industrial units, we really are sitting on a time bomb and there isn't much time to waste.
Absolutely right. Gurmukh, again the question comes up, what about my rights? What about my outlook towards the government that I pay taxes to? We are paying taxes so the government can take care of the environment, the infrastructure, so that we can be healthy, accumulate wealth for ourselves as well as do it for the government by paying indirect and direct taxes. Why isn't anybody talking about that? This clean air is every individual's right.
You're very right on this. So I really appreciate that the government is stating that they've been taking steps. I recently read an article by our environment minister, Mr. Majender Singh Sirsa. He said that he's ready with the cloud seeding technology for the artificial rains. So we don't know whether we will be needing that or not. But even if the government is stating that they're ready with it, this might curb a lot of problems that may arise after the Diwali. But the fact comes, the boiling point is again that it is we, the citizens, who have to take care of it. We cannot always blame the government. Obviously, the government has a duty and the government has to abide by that. But if we as individuals, we are not supporting the government, be any government, but if the citizens are not supporting the government, how will the government even function? And recently, we all know that the 10-year ban on the vehicles have also been uplifted. There has been a stay on the Supreme Court order, which banned the 10-year-old vehicles. So vehicles are also running. The Parali is also an issue, and now Diwali is about to come. So there is obviously a legal right. There are individuals who are very much interested, and they have sentiments attached to them that they have to burn crackers. So I think people should have that sense that how many crackers would give them that feeling of celebrating celebrating Diwali. And also apart from that, people have to make sure that it is at the end, the sufferers are the individual citizens only. No matter how much you blame the government, no matter how much you blame the politicians, at the end, if someone who would be the sufferer at large, it would be the government at large. It would be the public at large. So public to make sure that this they are not stuck in this kind of scenario. They have to make the government should make sure that there is a lot of awareness that what are the consequences of this, because there is a lot of majority. We may agree on this or not. There's a lot of majority in our NCR who are not even aware of the ill effects. They only know that after the Diwali there would be a pollution, and they are not aware that how to curb that. So, major thing that not only the government, but we as the citizens should also make sure that we are spreading, awareness. And one more thing, very important thing, if on the event, if on the festival, if we are seeing that there are some individuals who are, making mockery of the Supreme Court judgment, we as an individual should take a step on our own to report them and to ensure that they are not violating the terms. So this is how I think we as
That's
an
a good point,
individual.
actually. We also have to do our job as a citizen when it comes to it,
Exactly. So
the
this is
enforcement,
something
because largely we all agree that enforcement has been a problem. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but if love to continue this chatter, but appreciate everybody who joined us and gave their perspective. We take a short break now. We'll be right back.